Hi, Livia here, and for my last tip, I'm going to be talking about something pretty major, which is...
Hey guys, Aarush here from CuberSquad, and today we are going to be talking about how you can get faster at the 3x3. Joining us today is a very special guest who is Livia Kleiner. She has 27,000 subscribers on her YouTube, hundreds and thousands of views, and she also holds the national record. So without further ado, let's get into the tips and tricks on how you can become faster. Starting with tip number 1, how you can get faster is definitely by subscribing to our channel and hitting the notification bell because it gives you 60 years of good luck. That's not true. Anyways, now I'll be giving over the camera to VKM Passion so he can tell you some real tips and tricks on how to become faster. Also, don't forget, Livia Kleiner will be telling her most important point just after a few points that we tell. And if you guys want to check part 1 of the video, it's going to be up here. And this is the part 2 just for your reference.
Alright, beginning with one of the most common yet crucial tip is to solve the cross within 8 moves. Nevertheless, this is one of the most important tips to end up doing a good solve. So let me show you an example. So here's a hand scramble. So this cross is really easy. So we can start off by just doing a D move. More like D prime, but yeah. And then, so that was one move. Insert the orange. 2, 3, 4, 5. And here's another example. So we can just do 1 to match it up. 2, move this. 3, 4, and this is the last one left. 5, 6, 7. This tip can be exceptionally helpful for beginners and intermediate solvers as it will make your solves faster. Of course, every cross can be done within 8 moves. So do whatever you have to do to keep your cross within 8 moves, even if you have to do B moves. But try not to cube rotate though, it will waste your time. So the next tip, not heard that often, is all about the cube you have. The cube which you have will surely have an impact on your time. For sure. For instance, take a Rubik's brand and a gang cube. Which one do you think will get you better solves? Of course, it's the gang cube. But the question is why? The reason is that different cubes turn differently. Some turn smoothly while others get lockups. Some don't corner cut, and there are more that can be spoken about. For example, whether it's magnetic or non-magnetic. And I suggest buy a speed cube it can be any brand like Moyu or Gan or whatever. But if you want to buy a cheap cube, that is the budget cube, go ahead, or just a normal cube if you don't mind spending more. For example, this GAN 356M, so like $35, I guess. And yeah, wait, but this is not the end of this tip. It's not a complete list. So as soon as you get your cube, next step is to set it up. You must set up your cube for better performance. So we start with taking out the piece, the edge piece. It won't come out. 1 second. Yeah. So once you've taken this out, just disassemble every single piece. Hey, I had to disassemble my other cube because I had already set up my GAN cube. So yeah, so the first step is to take out all the pieces and just leave the main center alone. So, and then we start cleaning each piece with just a normal cloth. So yeah, just clean every single piece.
Many months later. 1 eternity later.
Much cleaner now. And yeah, so once again, if your cube is like not GAN and doesn't have GES nuts, so it'll have a screw, so you can just use a screwdriver to tighten or loosen it depending upon what you want. And as for the GAN cube here, we have the GES nuts, and yeah, you can just turn them and set them according to whatever you're comfortable with.
Hi, Livia here, and for my last tip, I'm going to be talking about something pretty major, which is becoming color neutral. Recently, I did an experiment where I became color neutral for a week, and it worked out a lot better than what I was expecting, actually. I didn't consider myself color neutral by the end, but I made a lot more progress than what I was expecting. So I just want to talk about my experience for that and my recommendation for how to become color neutral and why I think it can be really beneficial to become color neutral. So I started out practicing 2 ways. First, I did separate averages with each color, so that way I would make sure I was getting to practice each one, and it helped me to see which colors I was best at and which I needed to work on the most. I also did big averages where I used a 1x1 to decide which color I was doing for each solve, because otherwise I felt like I would always gravitate towards doing my regular cross color, which is green. Once I felt more comfortable with being color neutral, I started doing regular averages without the 1x1. There's many ways to practice being color neutral, but this is just what worked for me. Being color neutral is definitely not necessary, but it can be extremely beneficial. If you're color neutral, you'll be able to take advantage of a lot more easy scrambles, which is super nice. This is especially useful when making your cross. If there's an easy cross, no matter what color it's on, you'll be able to do it. Easy crosses are great because if your cross is only a few moves, then you'll definitely be able to plan out your first pair, maybe even your second pair, which is really, really helpful. The main piece of advice I gave at the end of that video was that if you're considering becoming color neutral, you should go for it.
And now to end our video with the most important point to make your F12 even more efficient, and that is look ahead. I know you hear this everywhere, but this point has to be added. All I have to say to you is slow down and look ahead. Makes your solve efficient and gets you better time. But no, don't go into looking ahead early or late. Learning it ahead of time will surely help your F12 to become faster. But oh well, here's the problem. Your last layer becomes weak. So in order to compensate for your slow last layer, you learn to look ahead, and no, you should never do that. Similarly, learning it late will help you progress very slow. I mean slow, very slow. So you should learn to look ahead once you average 17 seconds or so. Before reaching this, your F12 solutions might be bad and your algorithm, well, it may be inefficient. I'm not saying it is, but it might be, which will result in doing inefficient look ahead. So once you're really good with your F12 solutions, so then you can start looking ahead about when you average 17 seconds. And with that, we would like to end this video. Once again, this is just part 2. So go watch part 1. It's on Livia's channel once again for more tips from her and us. Thank you.